Hi folks, just a quick fun video this week using a new bit of gear and an old bit of gear. So the old bit of gear is my old Fender Blues Junior amp for about 6 or 7 years, which I really like. It's the lacquered tweed version, as you can see. It's got like a Jensen speaker in it. It's great. And this video is going to address the age-old problem of having a valve amp at home and volume. So even though this is only a 15 watt amp and I use it at home mostly as a kind of a clean amp and it sounds really nice at low volumes, the Blues Junior is great as well, admittedly, because it has a volume control and a master control separate. So you can crank the volume, which basically is cranking the preamp section, which is 12AX7 tubes incidentally, and then you can keep the master right down low so that you do get the sort of valve preamp overdrive, but then keeping the power tube section really low so that the overall volume is low. And that's great, but it's not quite the same, I don't think, as a valve amp with the master volume cranked up as well, when you allow those power tubes, EL84s incidentally, to really get to that high volume as well and open up. Of course it's going to have an effect on the tone, the overall kind of characteristic feel of the whole thing. So I've been using this, as I say, mostly as a clean amp at home and as a pedal platform, so just using pedals to provide the overdrive, and that's great. But I was gifted this one of a kind, the STFU-ENATOR, by my brother, who also plays guitar and happens to be an engineer and is capable of producing things in his garage that I could only dream of, and this has been one of them. So yeah, it's a passive attenuator, doesn't require any power supply or anything. You connect it between the amp output and the speaker input. Take you through some of the controls. On or bypass. There's a tonal characteristic switch between brighter, dark, or bright. This is the amount of attenuation. STFU, if you don't know what that stands for, then Google it, I'm not going to say here. STFU, you twat. Don't know if you can see this in the video, turn anti-clockwise to protect marriage. And I can vouch that that does work thus far. So yeah, we'll turn it anti-clockwise and it will basically lower the level, the volume level that is going to the speaker. So it's going to take that massive signal from the amp when it's cranked. It's going to convert most of it into heat inside, and then a much smaller signal, but of a very much the same tone, just made quieter, will then be sent to the speaker. So that's how it's supposed to work. So I'm going to just have a play around in this video and just try a few different sort of tones. On the back it says, so this is all important stuff if you're thinking of using an attenuator. You've got to use the right sort for the type of speaker you have. This is for an 8 ohm speaker, which is what this has. Connect it using only a proper speaker cable, not an instrument cable. That is extremely important. I'm sure most of you know that. And this is rated for the maximum of 25 watts. So as I said, that's 15 watts, so we should be fine. Or your riffs won't be the only face melting going on. Yeah, I don't really fancy melting my own face. So yeah, this is it's going to be a lot of fun. I think maybe I'll just do a few tones without it and just sort of show you, you know, reasonable volume levels for a house when we've got neighbours and stuff, what kind of tones I can get from it, and then we'll connect this, we'll crank it, and we'll record that and we'll sort of compare them. Okay, so first of all, here's a few examples of tones with the attenuator bypassed. So it's just the usual kind of sounds I get from this amp at home volume. Starting with a clean sound, so I've got the volume around 4. The knobs go up to 12 rather than 11 on this amp, so it's 4 out of 12. And the master's way down on 2. And then if we want a bit of overdrive, so we're going to turn the master right down at first to 0, and then crank the volume up, so that's going to start driving the preamp tubes. So we'll turn it up to 10 out of 12, and then we'll gradually turn the master back up to an acceptable volume, and then we've got a bit of crunch going on. Go a little bit further, let's go volume up to 12. So that's the preamp cranked as far as I can, and then the master, it's below 2 now, so it's really down. And then we can push it slightly further with the fat switch. There's a little button, gives it a bit of a boost in the preamp, and a bit of a mid boost in particular, I think. Crunchy, but still, it's so low on the master. It just feels a little bit sort of thin or lacking some body. So let's reset all of that back to clean, and then we'll turn on the STFU-ENATOR and see what we can do. Okay, so the attenuation knob I've got not far up at the moment, so it's not really doing very much. So let's turn that anti-clockwise to protect my marriage as instructed. Start to maybe hear it getting a little bit quieter. Yeah, and then let's start cranking the master up a bit. It's on dark at the moment, by the way. Remember, there's that switch where we've got bright, dark, or brighter. I'll play around with that in a moment, but let's keep it on dark for now. A bit more attenuation, a bit more master. Master's up to 4 now. Clean sounds, maybe got a little bit more body. But what we're really interested in is the overdrive, so let's crank both the volume and the master. And I think we'll need a bit more attenuation still. Okay, that's really quiet now, so we'll turn the volume up, so that's preamp up to 10, master up to 10 as well for now. Hit the fat switch, shall we? And then, why not, let's crank the volume up to 12. Master, we could go up to 12 as well, so then everything's cranked as far as it'll go. I feel like it's going to explode like that scene in Back to the Future. Play with this switch as well, so we're on dark, let's go bright. Brighter still. Whoa. Alright, it was really interesting. I mean, I've never had the master cranked up to 12 on this amp before. It's a loud amp. It's only 15 watts, but it's a really loud amp. I've never even had it up to 12 using it live. So I can't even imagine how loud that would be if we weren't using the attenuator. And yeah, it really gives some extra tonal options. I mean, you've got, I suppose it's those two gain stages, isn't it? You've got the preamp tubes, and then you've got the power tubes, each contributing to that overdrive and giving that thicker, bigger sound. I was finding it a little bit hard to sort of balance the amount of attenuation with the amount of level on the amp and getting it just to the right volume. So actually, it was quieter in the room when I had everything cranked up to 12 than it was when I first turned the attenuator on and a clean sound. So it just takes a little bit of playing around with it. But yeah, really, really interesting. I should record like a blues jam or something in this way. You know, mic up the amp again, crank it up, record some sort of blues solos or something, and see how it sounds in a mix. But yeah, I couldn't have imagined having that level of overdrive from the guitar straight into the amp. No pedals whatsoever. Would not have thought that that amp was capable of that amount of distortion. So fascinating. And it didn't blow up, which is great. So I hope you've enjoyed this quick video. Stay tuned, and I'll probably use this for, as I say, for a blues jam or something like that at some point soon. If you've got an attenuator, let me know how you use it, and stick a thumbs up on the video, subscribe, all of that sort of stuff. Check out my Patreon, which I've just launched as well, if you're interested in supporting the channel even further. And I will see you next time.